Hi everyone, it's Olivia here. We first covered this case, which is about the murder of Austin Kanuch early in January 2026. As some quick background into the case, Austin was a 39-year-old man who lived in Harris County in Texas, and he was stabbed to death in his home on September 22nd of 2023. Investigators say that an unknown intruder broke into the house while he was asleep and carried out the attack. There is some surveillance footage which captured a thin-built suspect riding a mountain bike near the home around the time of the attack. This person arrived shortly before 3:30 a.m. and was seen leaving the scene afterwards. Despite this, no suspect has ever been publicly identified and authorities have not publicly confirmed a motive in the case. An acquaintance of Austin's heard our Patreon episode for this case and asked us to release it to our main audience. Make sure you check out the Facebook page Justin for Austin Kanuch for more information on this case. Thank you for listening.
The True Crime Society podcast contains adult themes and violence and is not intended for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. And if you'd like to skip the intro or move to any specific part of the podcast, please refer to the timestamps listed in the episode description. Thank you. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the True Crime Society podcast with Stephanie and Olivia, Patreon edition.
Yes. Patreon exclusive.
Yes, we've had a lot of people join, which is pretty fun and exciting and cool. So welcome. We'll say your names in the main episode.
So
we're going to remember to do it. Yes. So everyone can hear and be encouraged to join as well.
I feel like it's going to be a lot because we last properly recorded early-ish December, so it might take up half the episode.
Yeah, the chat haters are really going to be mad. But, whatever, you can fast forward. Anyways, we were just saying a prayer to the universe that baby Jack is going to behave for Mike. It's been a while because we pre-recorded some episodes, and then our last recording was just a Patreon, and it was only like a 40-minute recording, so he made it through that one. But I'm going through the phase where he's only just having like naps that are either 27 minutes or 36 minutes all throughout the day. He needs constant entertainment, and new entertainment every 5 minutes. Like, I have to always be in his face, so I can't get anything done at all. He's just going through it. He's teething. He has his sleep regression. Luckily, he still sleeps through the night pretty decently. But the naps are just horrible. So by the end of the day, he turns into such a crab. So Mike might take him for a drive if he gets too crabby. But everyone, say a prayer. Say a prayer for next time because it'll be too late for this time.
I feel like there were lots of nice comments after the last episode where you mentioned it. And everyone's like, you can do this and all that. So that's lovely. I was listening to another podcast and they're like they were talking about some other baby and they're like, the baby was hard, as all babies are hard.
Yeah.
So it's true. They're all hard in their different ways. They all have their different things going on all the time for the rest of their lives. So.
And then I randomly see, I know most babies are hard and some are harder than others, but then I'll randomly see a post on Reddit. One was like, my baby is really chill and never really cries. Is there something wrong with them? I'm like, shut the fuck up.
I also feel like what happens though is a lot of people have different ideas of what chill is or what what makes a baby. And I don't want to say good because babies really can't be good or bad. They're just, it's just how their behavior is. But I feel like sometimes people are like, wow, my baby's so good. It'll do this and this and this. And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds just normal or that. Do you know what I mean? Everyone just has a different idea of what a baby should be doing.
Yeah, or just the unicorn babies where people are like, oh no, he never cries. I'm like, oh wow.
I also feel like my second daughter was a unicorn baby. She was a good, she was, when I say good, she was a very, she slept well generally. She had longer naps, which my first one didn't.
Had a good temperament.
But then I'm also at the time I had two kids under, they were only 19 months apart. I'm like, do I even remember? Maybe I just had these rose-colored glasses on. Yeah, I don't know. I just was surviving and I thought it was fine.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just a crab. It's always just walking a fine line of not setting him off. But he's I'm sure this is all babies also. In the same breath, he'll be crying. I'll do something slightly silly, and then he's has a huge smile on his face. And then 30 seconds later, he'll go back to whining, crying. Then another huge smile on his face. So he's figuring it out.
I also just think imagine being warm and protected and in the
Being a
dark
baby.
for 9 months. Well, for like 9 months, and then all of a sudden being thrust out into the world. It's a big adjustment.
That's what like keeps me sane too, and like calm, and always trying to be comforting and like gentle towards him and not get. I never really feel frustrated. Luckily, I'm very like patient. But I just think about how it's much harder for him probably than it is for me. Like, I don't know how he feels. What if he has a headache? Like, what's he gonna do? Nothing.
And when they are teething, they're probably in pain. Like, I'm assuming it's, like I remember that when I had wisdom teeth issues, it's very uncomfortable. So who knows?
So yeah, that's why I'm like, I just have to try to make him feel better, and that's my job.
Tough times.
Yeah. So what's up with you? You had your trip. You're going back to real life.
Yeah. Back to real life. So it's Monday here, I think. Yeah, Monday. So most things kind of reopened today, will start to reopen after the Christmas break. So I've got to go back into the office tomorrow. I was just saying I set an alarm for today to get up to record this because it's still early here, but I was like, it was a very big shock to the system. And then also like the weather hasn't been amazing. Like it's been fine. It's just been like but a bit coolish, like overcast. And now this week, of course, when everyone's going back to work, there's a massive heat wave. Like I'm looking outside now, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's beautiful. So anyway.
Of course.
Yeah. The kids have still got like 3 weeks off school, 3 and a bit weeks. So we're now about halfway through, and I feel like this is the time where everyone is getting a bit bored and like, feel like, what can we do today? And every time I feel like they do something, it costs like $100 per child. So, oh my God,
I know.
It's so expensive. My daughter went to a friend's house on the weekend and they went to like this it's like a inflatable water park. So they did that and then lunch. I'm like, that's like over $100. I can't afford them to be off school for another 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I know I don't have like kids that go out and do stuff, but I mean just leaving the house in general, because Mike will be like, oh, you should try like taking him out and like going to the mall or going wherever. And I'm like, I don't have money. I don't work. What am I going to, I can't go out and not spend money. Like if I'm going to the mall, I'm going to buy something, even though I'm like, I have no money. I'm going to buy like a little treat, a little snack.
And even like if I take them out, I'm like, okay, we can go and get like a drink or something. That's still like for 3 of us, like $40 because it's like $12 a drink or something ridiculous these days. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And the other thing is too, I'm going to buy my younger daughter a laptop for school. So I'm like, it's just a lot. Anyway, it's fine. It's nice. It's nice to just not have to rush every single day. I am only going into the office, I think 2 days this week and then working at home on Thursday. So that will be nice and a good way to start. But yeah back into it. Yeah.
All right. Let's get into it because I gotta get through this to make it to bedtime. So I'm just always under pressure. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about the case of Austin Kanuch, who was murdered in 2023, and we've had a lot of people join our Facebook group over the past few weeks about this case. It's interesting that it's just like picking up steam because it happened 2 years ago.
Yeah. I just feel like it's one, like this one has definitely flown under the radar a little bit. Like it's a case that seems very, very specific and very targeted, which we'll get into. But I just don't understand why, it hasn't been solved or why there's not more information about it out there.
Yeah.
And like I wonder if there are people keeping things close to their chest, as in investigators and people related to the case, because maybe they're waiting for something to happen. But
yeah, so it reminds us a little bit of Liz Barraza, Missy Beavers, and even possibly Jared Bridegan.
I feel like probably more so
those cases.
Jared Bridegan, because his was very targeted, and we all speculated at the time that it was someone who knew him, and it ended up that it probably has been. But yeah, probably more so Jared Bridegan. And it's crazy too that Missy Beavers and Liz Barraza were both also in Texas, so
and still unsolved.
Still unsolved. Yeah.
What are they up to over there?
Yeah, and both of those cases too have CCTV, which they're doing this one too. So I don't know, very strange.
All right, so let's get into it so that we can discuss it and you guys will know the story instead of pre-discussing it like we always do.
I know, I feel like I just get excited to speak about cases sometimes, so I get ahead of myself. I'm like, hey, just stop, you're going to tell the story anyway.
I know. And I'm like even worse now because as I've been saying, I'm just like a slave to this baby. I'm like, woohoo, I get to talk. Okay, so background. Austin Adam Kanuch was born on February 9th, 1984. His parents are Floyd.
Sorry, can I just add one thing too? The reason that we keep kind of stumbling a little bit across his name is it's actually spelled Kanuch.
Oh, yeah.
So Yeah, if you want to Google more information, you don't read the show notes or whatever. It's Kanuch, but it's pronounced Konyu.
Yeah, and I went to school with a girl with a similar last name who pronounced it Kanuch. So I'm like,
yeah, well, that's how I would have pronounced like Canuck or something like that. That's how I thought it was until I watched videos and they're like, no, I was totally wrong with that one.
yeah. So we're doing our best as usual. His parents are Floyd and Celine, and he was the oldest of two boys in the family. His brother is Corbin Conyu. So Austin grew up in Texas. He graduated from Langham Creek High School in Houston in 2002. He loved music and sports and was a member of his local choir. He also received a choir scholarship to Sam Houston State University, and he attended college there and obtained a Bachelor's of Arts in Broadcasting and Journalism. He got married for the first time in 2008 to a woman named Amy, and they had two daughters together named Abigail and Amelia. And that marriage lasted for about 10 years, and then they got divorced in 2018.
Just as a little note, I noticed they all those names in that family, Austin, Amy, Abigail, and Amelia. Yeah, they were there, I guess, the 4 A's for a little while.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. So he got married again in 2020, and his second wife was named Mary. They had a son together named Pierce, who was 23 months old as of September 2023. According to Austin's obituary, Austin, Mary, and the three children lived together in Houston. So I did note, not to be like, oh, well, only 2 years. Like they could have been separated for longer than that. But I did notice like between the divorce and getting married again, it's only 2 years.
Yeah, true.
So maybe a bitter ex.
Yeah. And also, like, and I did find it interesting too, like that information about the two girls, like the kind of family being blended and the two girls living with Austin and Mary comes from the obituary, which I found was an interesting thing to include. Like, it was maybe not something that they would usually put in.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it kind of made a point that Austin was living with the girls. Like, we don't know the entire custody arrangement between him and the ex. Like, it sounds like the mother probably still did see the kids, but he had primary custody just based on what has come out from his side.
Yeah, which is always interesting to me when the dad has primary custody, because what did the mom do? Because which sounds like tough to say, but we all know that usually like the mom has primary custody of the kids unless there's a reason usually.
Yeah, and we don't know how old these kids are, but we think around 2023
I think they're
probably like 11 and 14 or something like that. So now they'd be a little bit older, but yeah, kind of mid-teenish.
Yeah. So in later years, Austin loved golf, going to concerts, and barbecue food. He worked as an internet sales manager at West Houston Infinity, and he'd been with the company since 2019. He obtained a reputation as one of the dealership's top performing and most respected people. According to family, to know Austin was to know a kind, gentle man with a big heart. He lived his life large, and he will be missed. So Austin and his family were living in a rental home on Greenleaf Lake Drive in Copperfield, Texas. Is that the rental, the link? Or is that the house?
That's the rental. I haven't been able to find the house that they bought, but the house, this is the house where he died because it was still their rental. But yeah, this is the rental property.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about it? I looked at it, but...
Yeah. So the house is online. I won't put the address on there. It's out there everywhere, though. But it's just basically a pretty standard. It says 4 beds, 2 baths.
It was like a nice average house.
Yeah, very suburban house. Looks nice and neat. 1,800 square feet. Building 1983. It says it's valued at $265,000 now. Like, it's not like a super fancy house or anything. It just looks like a neat, nice suburban house. But one thing I find, I guess, the most interesting is that it was as I mentioned, in a very, very suburban area. Like, houses, it's a subdivision, I think you guys call it there. Houses very close to each other. So it's not like this was a remote location. There was neighbors everywhere.
Yeah. So on Thursday, September 21st, 2023, Austin and Mary closed on a new home in Copperfield, which was close to where they'd been living in their rental. The following day was Friday, September 22nd, 2023. Austin and Mary were at home with their son. Austin's daughters from his previous marriage were not at home on that day/night, which is something to take note of because that's interesting.
And that leads me to believe, like, I haven't seen where they were that night, but like you would think probably it's a Thursday night. They would have had maybe school the next day. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd love to know, like, would they normally have been there? Yeah. Was it like a sleepover? Was it like, why weren't they there?
So reading between the lines, I assume that they were with their mother, which is why they both weren't there. But yeah, just an interesting observation of who was at the house that night.
Yeah. So at 3:23 a.m. on September 22nd, surveillance cameras captured a person riding a mountain bike north on Spring Green Drive towards West Road. The person on the bike was described as a thin post-adolescent, and post-adolescent usually means like 18 to 24, 25 probably, like after your teen years, but like a young adult basically.
Yeah, I've got the footage up. Like, I don't know
You can't really
how you
see.
I don't know how you could also really say post-adolescent. Like, I guess the person looks kind of tall-ish. Maybe they do look quite thin or skinny.
That's all you can tell is that they're like skinny.
Yeah, like, cause yeah, and they do look tall, I guess, because of how they're holding the handlebars of the bike. But you can't really tell much else.
It's
like,
from of distance.
Yeah, I know there's like a tree in the way and things like that. So it's not like the most clear CCTV you've ever seen. I'll put it on the blog if you want to have a look. But I do agree, thin post-adolescent, I guess, is debatable. But you would think, I guess, for someone to carry out a crime like this, it would likely be a post-adolescent anyway.
Yeah, I guess. According to khou.com, the person hopped the fence at the Kanuch rental property and broke into the home. This happened at some point between 3:26 and 4:24 a.m. I wonder if they have like more footage, but then I'm like, why wouldn't they release it?
Well, maybe this is why I think they're keeping things close to their chest. If like it's as I mentioned, very residential. Surely there are Ring cameras. Like, I haven't seen a confirmed timeline of when the person actually jumped the fence, if it was 3:26, but basically he was attacked in the early 4 a.m.s or, kind of mid 4 a.m.s, and that was when 911 was called. So what was the person doing the whole time? Were they trying to find a way in? I don't know. We don't know, but it just seems like a long time for someone to be hanging around when they were known to be basically at the house at 3:26 a.m.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of places to linger around if the neighbors are so close. Yeah. So the intruder attacked Austin, fatally wounding him. Can't find it explicitly stated, but it seems that he was attacked while in bed, and Mary was likely in the same room, maybe also in bed.
Well, you would assume so. Maybe they had different rooms. Like, I know they had a young child or whatever, but it seems like she realized what was going on pretty quickly and called 911. Maybe she heard there was like a commotion if she was in another room, but either way, it seems like they were both probably asleep when this happened.
Yeah, I wonder, because it's not clarified, like, did he wake up at all and like confront the person first, or was he just sleeping? So yeah, we can't find it explicitly said, but it seems like that they were in bed sleeping. Comments online indicate that the attack happened just before the 911 call was made, so the perpetrator was likely on the property for about an hour beforehand. So I've seen it said online that Mary called 911 immediately following the attack. So
yeah.
According to Detective Kane Turner, Mary called 911 as soon as the attack happened. It was even speculated that she called before the killer had left the property. At 4:24 a.m., the suspected killer was seen on CCTV leaving the Kanuch residence and cycling away. They headed south towards West Road. The person was last seen on CCTV at 4:28 a.m., traveling on West Road towards Telgay Road. They then turned back south on Spring Green Drive, returning to the area where they were first seen. The Harris County medical examiner listed Austin's cause of death as sharp force injury of the neck. A press conference was held, and we learned that an edged weapon was found at the scene. Hey, when they say that, I'm like, can we just say knife?
Well, even I've just looked up like the definition of an edged weapon. It says it's a handheld tool or weapon with a sharp cutting or piercing edge, including items like knives, swords, axes, and improvised sharp
I want to know what it
objects.
was.
Yeah, me too. So the person left it behind, which is interesting. But it seems like it was some type of knife, and like a neck wound from a knife type object.
I'd assume,
would be
but it's like
pretty fatal, pretty quickly fatal.
A knife is different from an axe, so I just want to know.
Yeah.
Authorities also said that nothing appeared to have been stolen, and they ruled out robbery as a motive. Detectives also said they believe the attack was targeted and not random. Austin's wife, Mary, was ruled out as a suspect early on in the investigation as well. And detectives canvassed the area and looked at CCTV, but no clear motive or suspect has ever been publicly identified. Austin's friends and coworkers described him as peaceful and well-liked. After the investigation, police found no evidence of any criminal behavior or any disputes that would have led to the murder.
So, 2 years after Austin was murdered in September of 2025, the Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced that his public safety office was adding $20,000 to the reward that had already been established by Crime Stoppers, which was another $20,000. So the reward is up to $40,000. They did kind of a press conference marking the 2-year anniversary, and Celine, who's Austin's mother, spoke there. She said, Austin was a beautiful soul. He lived his life in the big way, and he had a big smile and a hearty life. And if you knew him, you knew that about him. He just filled the room. Celine also spoke about the perpetrator in the case. She said, I just feel like they're a pure evil person with malicious intent, and I just am determined with my faith that we're going to find this person and bring them to justice. So I guess one part I also find particularly interesting about the timeline is the fact that they literally closed on the house. Essentially, it was the day he died because he went to bed and he died that following morning. So he closed on the house and then was killed basically straight away. Family members have said they don't believe, though, the real estate deal had anything to do with Austin's murder. So Austin's parents are divorced, and his stepfather is a man named Harold, and Harold said, was there some disgruntled person he didn't give a good car deal to? I mean, that kind of detail was searched and researched and nothing was found.
Oh, I just like took a note because then I was like, is he a car like salesperson? Because I looked up his job because he's internet sales. And basically what I found said, of course, sorry, I'm just moving this so I can see. I looked up his job because it says he's an internet sales manager. It says that an internet sales manager leads the dealership's online sales efforts, focusing on generating leads, managing digital promotions, overseeing a sales team to convert online inquiries into vehicle sales. So I'm like, he's not like a car dealership. But then again, you'd think like his stepfather would probably know what he does. But I don't know. I just thought it was weird.
I guess maybe like in better terminology, he could have facilitated the sale.
Yeah, that's what I wrote. Like maybe it's like a middleman.
Yeah. It is very interesting timing to me about the real estate deal. I don't know. Yeah. So I do circling back to the house purchase. I wonder if someone did it because maybe they were jealous about the house purchase. Could it have been related to maybe the ex? We don't know. Like, I feel like the house wasn't anything extravagant from what I've seen. Like, I'm assuming it was just another suburban house. It was in the almost same subdivision, but maybe someone was jealous that he was able to buy a house. Like, could it have been an ex, for example? I do want to know what the person was doing there for around an hour before the attack. Like, obviously they could have been trying to find a way into the house. They managed to find a way into the house. We haven't heard anything really more about how that happened. It's just that they broke in. There were some initial reports that Austin was actually found outside the house, but then I think that turned out to not be true and it all happened inside the house.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the only answer or like the most like suspicious person is obviously the ex, which you'll get into in a minute, more of what people are saying. But I feel like she's the only one that really had something to benefit from this by killing him. Maybe she would get her daughters back. Maybe she was mad that he moved on, is buying a new house, like happy family. They're going to live in this nice house probably. And she didn't like that. I mean, we don't have a ton of information, but from what we do know, that's the one person who seemingly would benefit from this as far as we could tell.
And I wonder if the house purchase was kind of the tipping point. So they're like, no, screw this. I've had enough.
You think you're going to have your little happy, perfect life now?
Yeah. As I mentioned, a lot of people have been joining our group for this case. A lot of people have a lot of things to say. I won't read out their names, but I've picked out some of the most interesting ones. Someone wrote, my friend lives on the next street from where the murder happened, and she said police never came and asked to see their cameras. Yeah, so the neighborhood seems to think that the ex-wife had something to do with it, which I feel like most people probably do. We always joke and say it's always the husband, it's always the wife, but it does seem like a probability in this case, or a possibility. This is another one. It was not a random act of violence. It was not a robbery gone wrong. No one robs a house at the dead end in the middle of a neighborhood on a bike. The killer was sent there to kill Austin. Why that night? Well, it was the night his two daughters, who he had sole custody of, were not home. Since his death, they are now back with the only person who profited from his death, his ex-wife. So interesting. Again, we can't verify that. This is just an internet comment, but it does seem that there is maybe some plausibility to that. He was noted in his obituary that he had basically custody of the kids. So I'm assuming, they would have gone back to the mother after this.
Yeah. And about the bike, just because it was mentioned there, how they said like nobody's going to rob a house with a bike. That's actually not true because my aunt's house got robbed and the person was on a bike. And I did take note of the bike because it's like you're going to murder someone. Most likely that was the plan. Since it was targeted, it seems like. Why are you going to use a bike? But I guess if you really think about it, a bike is probably easier to get rid
Yeah.
of, to stash, to hide.
And also
It's
you
not
can
like,
go like down alleyways and laneways and things
Yeah.
like that to get away more easily, whereas a cop is probably going to be in a car. And even if they chase you
Yeah.
on foot, you'd still be able to get away quicker.
And also, it's not like they're going to be like, it was a white Kia with this license plate. Like,
Yeah.
we saw literally a video and we're like, I don't know, it's a bike.
I think
So-
also I have a family member whose house was robbed, and we're pretty sure the person actually robbed it on foot. Like they
really?
they were seen walking away, and they didn't realize at the time what had happened. And then by the time everyone realized, it was too
Yeah,
late.
it
But
seems
and
dumb
it was
if
in the
you
middle of
think
like a
about it.
thunderstorm. So I feel like
Oh.
sometimes I don't think the motive was robbery, but if someone
No.
is just looking for some, let's say, jewelry to steal, you don't need a car to do that. You
Right.
can just go in and grab a handful of jewelry and leave. So
That's what happened at my aunt's house. They just took expensive small stuff.
yeah.
But also, I was thinking about the bike. Could that hint to it being a minor or an adolescent? Someone maybe didn't have a driver's license? I don't know.
Well, this is kind of related to the next comment, which I don't know. Like, I'm hesitant because it involves
I know, it's like a shitty. It's
but
a shitty
this is
thing
what
to say.
people are commenting online. They said the person on the bike in the photo is very thin, tiny butt, super tiny waist, thin legs, almost prepubescent. What were the kids doing at this time? Someone has a theory that maybe they stole the car. This does say the grandparents' car, so maybe the girls were at the grandparents' house that night and not at the mother's house. Either way, I'm sure they were at some family member's house, but it says they could have taken the car and dropped them off. And someone wrote, it looks like they're wearing shorts and a crop top. I don't know how you can see that.
I don't know how you can see that.
It looks like the person is wearing like a tightish or a fitted top. Like it's not like
Yeah.
some big loose oversized shirt. It does look like a more fitted top, but I don't know if you could say maybe shorts and a crop top. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is probably the most interesting comment that I found. Again, we cannot verify, it's internet speculation, but these people are out there putting their names to this, so maybe it's true. Someone will say this. I will say this. I know members of this family. It was not the current wife, which is Mary. I attended the funeral. The ex-wife is average height but very thin, and her male partner, and she's got in brackets, both looking like crackheads, so that's her terminology, showed up almost 1 hour late to the funeral with the girls. The oldest was supposed to sing a song at the beginning of the funeral. They had to rearrange the entire schedule of the service because she was not there yet. They finally showed up late. The girls sang the song beautifully in honor of her father towards the end of the service. As soon as the service was over, she, as in the ex-wife, and her tall, skinny partner, so this person has put that in caps just to emphasize that this person is tall and skinny, and they wrote boyfriend, new husband, don't know, left like the second it was over, rushed those girls out. It struck me horribly wrong that day, and I've not forgotten it since. You will not convince me it was not one of them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to like accuse the kids or even like
No.
put that out there really. If anything, I'd say it was the ex-wife or her partner.
Yeah, this is why I mean it's very much Jared Bridegan. It reminds me of Jared Bridegan, the exact same situation where the ex
they had
and
the
her
funeral
new partner,
drama too.
Yeah. I highly, highly doubt that it was one of the children. It sounds like, like what kind of 11 or 14, if that's how old they were, 11 or 14-year-old is going to ride their bike. Like the only thing is they would probably know how to get into the house, but I just can't see it really happening.
Yeah, me neither. Especially, I mean, I guess it wouldn't matter, but like they were with him most of the time.
Mm-mm. Exactly. And I just feel like it's just interesting that the one night that they weren't there was the night that this happened. And I feel like as a mother, which I'm not sticking up for her if she is involved, but as a mother, you wouldn't want your kids to see that no matter what you would think. So maybe that's why they picked that night.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So there is a Facebook page. I think it's called something along the lines of Who Killed Austin Kanuch. This is a reward poster that I found, and it does have some information. Again, we can't verify it, but it seems to maybe answer a few questions if it is correct. It says that Crime Stoppers and the Harris County Sheriff's Office are asking for the public's assistance. Then it says, on Friday, September 22nd, 2023, at approximately 4 a.m., so don't know about the timing because 911 was called at 4:24. Maybe it was around then. It says Austin was violently attacked in his home. An unknown suspect forcibly entered the residence while Austin was asleep and fatally stabbed him. Surveillance footage captured the suspect fleeing the scene on a mountain-style bike. Austin tragically succumbed to his injuries. His family is devastated and pleading with the community to come forward with any information that could lead to the identification of this person. Then it just has a photo of Austin, and it goes on to list all the tip, places you can give tips and things like that. So I don't know. I feel like, but the one thing I do find interesting though is that the police have said there were no disputes that they think would have led to this. So did Austin and his ex have an amicable relationship? That's why it keeps
There's
bringing
not
me
a lot
back.
of info.
No, and it keeps bringing me back to the real estate transaction. Like, what? I just feel like that surely seems to have been a tipping point. Why else? Like, the only other thing is that the kids weren't there that night. Those two things combined, maybe that person just snapped and had enough if it was someone in the family. And I do wonder if it is being kept a little bit quiet because there are children involved, and obviously if it is someone related to those children. Forever. Yeah, absolutely. Like, there was always the insinuation that maybe it was someone who knew Jared, and it ended up being that's what it was. So maybe it could be something along those lines, and they're just waiting to get their ducks in a row before they act and do anything.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I think also.
So there
we'll
haven't
see.
really been there was a media push, as I mentioned, on the 2-year anniversary. There really hasn't been anything more since then. Like, there are, online conversation. Someone, like, these are some Reddit comments where people are speaking about why the person was in the house for an hour. Someone said, my guess would be the culprit spent some time scouting around the house before committing the intrusion, trying to confirm nobody was awake, ? Since it feels targeted, the person may have needed to build up to it.
Mm-hmm.
People have the same questions as us. Was the wife in the room? Was she in a separate part of the house? It says that the new home would be around a 5 to 7 car minute ride away from where they were currently living, because people were questioning maybe whether someone angry that he was moving farther away with the kids, but it doesn't seem like that was the case.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get some updates. Seems like a lot of people are interested in this case. Hopefully with more people talking about it, I'll put some pressure to get it out there more and maybe put some more information out. So hopefully we'll hear something soon, but that's really it. That's all the information there is for now. We'll be interested to hear what you guys think, or if you have any other theories about this one. So definitely let us know on Patreon in the comments or in the chat or the Spotify Patreon comments, whatever works for you guys. And that's it. So we're going to go record the main episode now. We're going to be talking about the Hoggle children, which is a crazy, sad case. Very mysterious. I mean, like, it is, but it isn't at the same time. Yeah. You'll see. Yeah. So thank you guys for listening. Thanks for being Patreon subscribers. Love you guys so much. Peace out. Bye.
See ya.